Very few stars have a career as long and legendary as Dolly Parton, but as consistent as she seems, her life and style have changed a lot over the decades. Growing up in the Great Smoky Mountains of Sevierville, Tennessee, Dolly Parton spent her early years living the simple life, but not without more grandiose dreams. She recalled to USA Today, "I just knew that I wanted to be out in a bigger world. I knew there was more than just the Smokies. I love my people. I love my home, but I just wanted to do more." Even though she lived in a rural area, Parton still found opportunities to hone her craft. In her earliest days, she described performing on her front porch by sticking a tin can on a tobacco stick as a makeshift microphone and singing her heart out. It wasn't long before she was making the rounds for real. She said, "I had an uncle, Bill Owens, that used to take me around to different places to sing. He had taught me all the chords on the guitar because he saw early on that I was serious about my singing." And as she explained in an interview with Home and Family on the Hallmark Channel, she was serious about it because she knew it would be a way to truly get somewhere in life.
I think that I just always had a very outgoing personality, and I just saw that music was a way out.
Looking back on her childhood, Parton shared with USA Today some of the advice that she would give her younger self if she could. She would say, "This is what you want and you're going to get it, but you're going to have to work for it and try to love it. You're going to have a wild ride, but you're going to love it." The day after she graduated from high school in 1964, a bright-eyed Parton left her childhood home in Sevier County, Tennessee, with a huge smile and a mile-high head of hair to match, and headed to Nashville. It didn't take long for her to get settled. Not long whatsoever. In fact, she met her late husband, Carl Thomas Dean, the very first day she arrived. In an interview with CMT News, she acknowledged how lucky she was in the love department. Not just because she'd found it so easily, but because she'd found someone who was willing to support her aspirations. She said, "My husband never held me back on my dream because he knew I had come here to be a singer and a songwriter." Dolly married Carl in 1966 in a small ceremony in Georgia with only her mother in attendance. At just 21 years old, Dolly released her first album, Hello, I'm Dolly, in February 1967. While she'd toned down the hair volume a bit by this time and opted for a more grown-up appearance, her face retained its fresh, youthful glow. Dolly's undeniable talent and beauty grabbed the attention of country crooner Porter Wagoner, who invited her to showcase her music on his television show. In September of that year, she performed songs from her debut album on The Porter Wagoner Show, including Your Ol' Handyman. Impressing audiences and Wagoner alike, Parton eventually replaced his full-time singer and stayed with the show for 7 years. Dolly's mega hit, I Will Always Love You, which reached #1 on the Billboard Hot Country Songs chart in June 1974, was surprisingly written about Wagoner. It's not like it sounds, though. It was actually an effort to explain why she wanted to leave his show and strike out on her own. Dolly told the Tennessean, "I thought, how am I going to make him understand how much I appreciate everything, but that I have to go? So I sat down and I wrote this song." Dolly later played the tune for Wagoner, who cried and said, "Well, hell, if you feel that strong about it, just go on." However, he had one condition, that she allow him to produce the song. She allowed it, and the rest is history. Dolly's path to superstardom was now all but a foregone conclusion. Despite her petite stature, she knew how to command a stage. As she forged her solo path, she was tapped for her own variety show on ABC called Dolly in 1976. While it only aired for 1 season, it wouldn't be Parton's final foray into television. While the cover of Dolly's 1978 album, Heartbreaker, saw the star embracing her more sensuous side, she revealed even more of herself in October of the same year when she famously posed for Playboy. She told US 99 Radio, "I wasn't naked. All you saw was me in my bunny suit, with my boobs sticking out a little. That was a good article they ran in there, and it was just a fun thing to do. That was just another way I was trying to market myself at that time, to kind of get in the mainstream and take it right to the edge, but not do the whole dirty deal." Perhaps the most shocking thing about Dolly's appearance in Playboy is that she hoped to do it again to mark her 75th birthday in January 2021. When 60 Minutes Australia asked if she wanted to wear the outfit from her first Playboy shoot, she replied,
With the bunny ears?
I could probably use it. Boobs are still the same.
Dolly kicked off a movie career with her usual gusto in the 1980s 9 to 5. In the film, Dolly joined Lily Tomlin and Jane Fonda in portraying women who fall victim to a sexist corporate culture and boss. Needless to say, people loved it and it became an instant classic.
I'm gonna get that gun of mine, and I'm gonna change you from a rooster to a hen with one shot. Don't think I can't do it.
Her role, and the titular title track she wrote and performed, earned Dolly an Academy Award nomination, 3 Golden Globe nominations, and 4 Grammy nominations. She would go on to win 2 Grammys, Best Female Country Vocal Performance and Best Country Song. And when the film was eventually adapted into a stage musical in 2008, Dolly received a Tony nomination for Best Original Score. There were also plans in the works for a movie remake with the original cast. But as Dolly told Entertainment Tonight in 2019, we never could get the script where it was enough different than the first one. And that one turned out so good. 1982 brought Dolly another box office smash with The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, which was adapted for film from the 1978 Broadway musical of the same title. The movie earned her another Golden Globe nomination in 1983, this time for her role as a feisty madam. That year also brought Dolly a working relationship that would foster a creative collaboration and a deeply personal connection for decades to come when she teamed up with Kenny Rogers on Islands in the Stream, a duet written by the Bee Gees. The song skyrocketed to #1 on the Billboard Top 100 Country and Adult Contemporary charts. Basically, Dolly was everywhere in the early 80s with puffy curls and bangs. And it was about this time when rhinestones, sequins, and fringe started to adorn nearly everything in her stage wardrobe. Speaking of rhinestones, in 1984, Dolly starred with Sylvester Stallone in a film called Rhinestone, which led to some personal development on the singer-actress's part. What kind of personal development? As you can see in this picture of Dolly in 1985 at Century Plaza Towers in Los Angeles, she definitely lost some weight. To what or whom did she credit her newfound fitness, you might ask? Her friendship with Sylvester Stallone. Speaking with Marie Claire, Dolly revealed that Stallone helped her work out a more nutritious diet and get into an exercise regimen. But while she's wearing a conservative white 2-piece suit, she couldn't be understated about everything. The curls in that long spiral perm, or wig as she is known for wearing during appearances and performances, bring her closer to God. As Dolly told Elle, "I don't always wear wigs in my daily life, but I always still poof up my hair. I still like to have that flashy hair. When I'm around home, I wear my little scrunchies. Wigs are just so handy. I'm so busy and I have so many choices. I never have a bad hair day, and that's a good thing." What does an energetic, gorgeous, creative country girl do once she's topped the music charts and established a successful acting career? Well, she opens a theme park. Of course. Duh. As a 40-year-old, Dolly told People in 1986, "A few years back, when I first started seeing the Hollywood sign, I kept thinking how cute it would be if I could change the H to a D and see how long it would take anybody to notice. It just popped into my mind that it would be a good name for a park." She decided to build one near her childhood home in Tennessee, eventually turning Silver Dollar City, an existing 400-acre history-themed park, into what's now known as Dollywood.
It's a big slice of Smoky Mountain fun.
Always one to stand out in a crowd, Dolly owned the red carpet with co-stars Julia Roberts and Sally Field at the Steel Magnolias premiere in New York City. The film had an all-star ensemble cast and was a major hit, grossing almost $100 million in box office revenue.
I don't like Velma Million. I don't trust anybody that does their own hair. I don't think it's normal.
As the old saying goes, you can take the girl out of the rhinestones, but not when that girl is Dolly Parton. She just can't quit that sparkle. In 1989, the 43-year-old still wore her long, bouncy hair with tons of body, but the curls were looser. Perhaps the curl-to-rhinestone ratio is inversely proportional if you have a Tennessee theme park named after you. The 80s passed, and Dolly's superfluously teased hair went along with them. But her friendship and working relationship with Kenny Rogers continued to grow. You can see by the way she looked at him during this 1990 performance in Minneapolis that she greatly admired him and felt totally at ease performing alongside him. When Rogers passed away in March 2020, Dolly tweeted a heartfelt tribute about their strong bond and wonderful times together. In a recorded video, she said, in part,
I loved Kenny with all my heart. My heart's broken, and a big old chunk of it has gone with him today.
You can't make new old friends, so this was certainly a major loss in her life. By the turn of the century, an air of sophistication began to surround the superstar, which we can see quite plainly in this photo of her smiling from a limo in Midtown Manhattan. Her hair is cropped to a chin-length shag that flatters her face and makes her look years younger than 54. This might be one of the first glimpses of the extensive cosmetic work she's had done. Dolly was and has remained incredibly well-preserved, and there's nothing wrong with a little nip and tuck. In fact, she's always been quite open about having had plastic surgery. In an interview with The Guardian in 2011, Dolly said, "If something is bagging, sagging, or dragging, I'll tuck it, suck it, or pluck it." In 2006, at age 60, Dolly was recognized with Kennedy Center Honors. At the White House ceremony, it was plain to see that Dolly is capable of bringing her country girl spirit to any event, even a formal occasion. She sported a floor-length, form-fitting white gown with fringe, rhinestones, and a low-cut décolletage, and we think she couldn't have looked better, with some of the next generation of country singers performing her biggest hits, including then newbie Carrie Underwood pairing up with Kenny Rogers for a rendition of Islands in the Stream. Parton's longtime producer, Steve Buckingham, explained why this particular honor made perfect sense on the star's website. Noting her huge impact worldwide, he said of her singular talent, "I always say, the one thing you never hear when you're anywhere with her is, I wonder if that's Dolly Parton, because there's no doubt." In 2016, Dolly went on a tour to support her 2016 album, Pure and Simple. Being that the album is a compilation of love songs that explore the many colors of love, the colorful outfits she wore during this stretch were pretty symbolic. After all, multiple colors have been a running theme in Dolly's life and work. For example, A Coat of Many Colors was a 2015 TV movie based on her childhood.
It's Miss Dolly Parton, rising star of the Grand Ole Opry.
She also wrote a song and a children's book with the same title. Dolly's website explains the name. When Dolly's mother took a box of rags that someone had given her and sewed them into a patchwork coat of love for her daughter, she didn't know she was setting her on a path that would become one of the most beautifully woven tapestries in the history of American music. How many women can still rock a body-hugging dress at age 73? Dolly's youthful energy radiates when she smiles, and that impish grin still makes fans melt. As undeniably talented and beautiful as Carrie Underwood is, there was something extra powerful in the energy of country matriarchs Dolly Parton and Reba McEntire at the 2019 CMA Awards. Alongside Underwood, both Parton and McEntire exuded, "I no longer really care about any of this mess" vibes, which gave them an effortlessly confident and sexy presence. This iconic trio later headlined the evening's Women of Country performance. The nearly 9-minute medley, which opened the event and quickly became one of the best moments of the show, featured the biggest female stars of the genre and some of country music's major hits, including Dolly's Those Memories of You. Dolly looked cozy and warm while reading bedtime stories to kids during the COVID-19 lockdown as part of her Goodnight with Dolly series. The star has donated more than 100 million books to homes, libraries, and schools to help increase childhood literacy through her Imagination Library.
And did you know that one of my favorite things to do is to read? There's just something magical about getting lost in a good book.
This started as a local program in Tennessee in 1995 and kept growing until millions of free books were being sent around the world. While Dolly even refers to herself as the Book Lady, her ongoing dedication to the betterment of the world has been admirable and steadfast in many areas. In April 2020, for example, the singer-actress announced on X, which was still Twitter at the time, that she'd donated $1 million to Vanderbilt University for coronavirus vaccine research. Amid the pain, fear, and confusion in the world during the 2020 pandemic, she released a song that could be an anthem for anyone going through loss or trauma, entitled When Life is Good Again. Dolly may be a country music legend, but she's also established herself as a bona fide rock star. In 2022, she was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, despite initially turning down the offer. She told NPR after retroactively accepting the invitation, "It was always my belief that the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was for the people in rock music. And I have found out lately that it's not necessarily that, but if they can't go there to be recognized, where do they go? So I just felt like I would be taking away from someone that maybe deserved it, certainly more than me, because I never considered myself a rock artist. But obviously there's more to it than that." Following her induction, Dolly prepared and released a rock and roll album of her own, Rockstar, as her way of proving her place amongst the greats. The album, which featured legends of the genre like Stevie Nicks, Debbie Harry, Paul McCartney, and Ringo Starr, became Parton's highest-charting album on the Billboard 200 chart. In an interview with Robin Roberts in 2023, she explained her reason for writing a rock album after her induction, saying,
"Well, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to be like my daddy. I've got to earn it. I don't want nothing that I don't earn."
As she entered her rock star era, Dolly proved to the masses that she was still capable of changing her look while still staying true to her own style. In November 2023, she performed at halftime during a Washington Commanders Dallas Cowboys NFL game. But it wasn't just her performance that awed the crowd. Dolly was dressed in the iconic Dallas Cowboys cheerleader uniform, complete with studded white short shorts and bright blue crop top. At 77 years old, she was yet again redefining beauty standards at any age. Her manager, Danny Nozell, told Billboard of the performance ensemble, It was completely her idea. She waited until right before she went to stage and came out of the dressing room to show us all. When she came out myself, the security and my staff fainted. I couldn't tell the difference between Dolly and the cheerleaders. That is the genius of Dolly, and people are still talking about it. While some people criticized Dolly for her daring look, many fans were quick to defend the star, including her sister Stella. She posted on X, "To those of you being so critical of a 77-year-old kicking up her heels, I say f*** yourself. Shame on you, not her." Dolly has shown no signs of slowing down in her career as she moves towards her 8th decade, especially when it comes to her business affairs. In late 2023, she announced a number of new projects that continue to expand her reach across sectors and states alike. In December of that year, her company Dollywood announced the development of a new hotel and retail property in downtown Nashville. She remarked in a statement, "Since the pandemic, commercial real estate is becoming an opportunity. I strongly believe in the future of Nashville and feel this is a great investment." Dolly has also continued to advance her Imagination Library initiative, a children's literacy program which has impacted more than 250 million children throughout the United States and countries, including Canada, the United Kingdom, Australia, and the Republic of Ireland since 1995. She said in a statement on the initiative's website, "The seeds of dreams are often found in books, and the seeds you help plant in your community can grow across the world." She also announced that the program would expand north and into Maine, saying in a video statement,
Happy reading, Maine, and remember that I will always love you.
Dolly's giving heart knows no bounds, and that was no more apparent than when she donated $1 million towards disaster recovery funds in the wake of the devastating Hurricane Helene in 2024. The storm made major impacts on the people of eastern Tennessee, where she was born and raised.
And I look around and I think, these are my mountains. These are my valleys. These are my rivers.
Her funds went directly to the Mountain Ways Foundation, which specifically helped victims in the area, which is also home to her famed theme park, Dollywood, along with many of her other business and tourist ventures in the Pigeon Forge area. Those same ventures, which include Dollywood Parks and Resorts, and Dolly Parton's Stampede Dinner Show, would also donate another $1 million towards the cause. She explained during an October 2024 news conference, "I feel that if there's anything I can do to give back in any way I can, I'm always willing to do that. I want to feel like I'm doing my part." Dolly and her family are no strangers to down-home cooking, so it's not surprising that she decided to start a new baking line in 2024. As part of the line, Smoky Mountains-themed wares that ranged from cast-iron skillets to country-cute table linens. She wanted her hometown legacy to be felt through each and every item in the collection. She said in a statement on her website, "Home is as much a state of mind as it is a place for me. Spending time with family over a meal created priceless moments that have lasted me a lifetime. It is my hope that these products be a part of wonderful memories for you." Even though Dolly hasn't always gotten along with her siblings, she and her sister, Rachel Parton George, joined forces to write their own cookbook, Good Lookin' Cookin', A Year of Meals, a lifetime of family, friends, and food, in 2024.
Hey, good look at what you got cooking. Well, I think you're the one that needs to say what we got cooking.
The title itself was inspired by an old Hank Williams song, bringing full circle the feelings of country comfort that are so important to the Parton family. Dolly said in an Instagram post, "I love good cooking, but not as much as I love my sister Rachel." With a music catalog as storied as hers, it's only natural that Dolly would have a Broadway musical made about her life featuring her timeless tunes, including some new ones she wrote specifically for the show. In 2024, the legend herself announced a national casting call for actors to portray her in Dolly, an original musical. The show is inspired by the star's life and career in all aspects, and covers the full gamut of emotions that have made up her decades-long career. The star shared in a statement on her website, "You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll clap, you'll stomp. It truly is a grand ole opera. Pun and fun intended." The show set a Broadway date for 2026 with a special Nashville, Tennessee pre-Broadway run scheduled for the summer of 2025. With hundreds of actors from all walks of life competing for the role of a lifetime, Dolly herself had only one piece of advice when it comes to playing the icon, which she wrote on her website, "Capture the spirit of my journey." Dolly and her husband Carl remained together until his death on March 3, 2025, nearly 60 years. He served as the inspiration for several of Parton's musical projects, from the cover image of her album My Blue Ridge Mountain Boy to the crux of her legendary song Jolene. Though he rarely made public comments or appearances with his wife throughout their marriage, he did release an official statement in honor of the couple's 50th anniversary in 2016. It read, in part, "My first thought, when I saw her, was, I'm gonna marry that girl. My second thought was, Lord, she's good looking. And that was the day my life began. I wouldn't trade the last 50 years for nothing on this earth. After his death, Dolly released a touching statement, which read in part, Carl and I spent many wonderful years together. Words can't do justice to the love we shared for over 60 years. Thank you for your prayers and sympathy. It's safe to say that even though she's experiencing tremendous heartache, we have no doubt that Dolly will jump back in the saddle in due time and continue to be the same kind of wonderful she's been since the very beginning.